Have you ever promised yourself, this time I'm going to take it seriously? I will wake up earlier, train more consistently, read more, use my phone less, work with more focus, and truly change my life. In the first few days, everything seems to go well. You feel motivated. You feel like you are starting again. You believe that this time will be different. But then, only a few days later, things begin to slow down. You skip one workout. You tell yourself you will do it later. But then, that important thing gets pushed to another day. You scroll on your phone longer than you planned. You tell yourself you will start again tomorrow. And then that tomorrow gets pushed to another tomorrow. And eventually, you end up right back where you started. Not because you do not want to change. Not because you do not know what is good for you. But because there is something very few people realize. Sometimes, the problem is not that you lack discipline. The problem is that you are trying to live with discipline inside a system that makes the wrong thing too easy and the right thing too difficult. Your phone is always right beside you. Social media is only one tap away. Your bed is closer than the gym. Procrastination is always easier than starting. And the most important things are often the things that require the most energy to do. So every day, you are not only fighting laziness, you are fighting an environment that is arranged to pull you back into your old self. That is why relying only on willpower is often not enough. Willpower can help you start. But if everything around you still makes it easy to get distracted, easy to procrastinate, and easy to return to old habits, then sooner or later, you will get tired. And when you are tired, you will choose the easiest thing. The Stoics understood that. Self-control is not about forcing yourself to be stronger all the time. Self-control is also knowing how to arrange your life so the right choices become easier to make. Not forcing yourself to be perfect, but creating a system that helps you keep more of the promises you have made to yourself. Today, we are going to look at why you struggle to stay disciplined, why motivation usually disappears so quickly, and how to build a simpler system, an easier system, but a more effective one. So you no longer feel like you keep returning to the starting line every time you fall off track or drift away from the plan you set for yourself. The first thing you need to understand is human willpower is not always as strong as we think. There are days when you wake up with a lot of determination. You want to work harder, focus better, live better. But all it takes is a few small things for everything to start drifting away from your original direction. A message appears. A short video pulls you in for another 10 minutes. A bed feels too comfortable. A desk is too messy. A phone is sitting right beside your hand. And before you even realize it, you have already spent so much energy on things that do not truly matter. Not because you are too weak, but because the environment around you is making distraction too easy. The Stoics did not see self-control as constantly fighting against yourself. They understood that human beings are easily pulled by whatever is closest, easiest, and gives the fastest feeling of comfort. If your phone is always in front of you, you'll be more likely to pick it up. If your workout clothes are hidden deep in the closet, you will be more likely to skip the workout. If your desk is full of distractions, your mind will struggle to enter a focused state. If your goal is too big, too vague, and has no clear first step, you will be more likely to procrastinate. So do not only ask, why do I have no discipline? Also ask yourself, am I living in an environment that makes it easier for me to do the right thing? Because many times, you do not fail because you lack desire. You fail because the right thing is too hard to begin, while the wrong thing is too easy to do. A person who wants to read but keeps the book inside a drawer, while the phone is always in their hand, will find it very hard to choose reading. A person who wants to train but only looks for their clothes, their shoes, and their motivation in the morning will easily return to bed. A person who wants to work with focus but keeps every notification on, every window open, and every distraction around them will slowly have their willpower worn down over time, no matter how strong it once was. Discipline is not only about trying harder. Discipline is also about placing yourself in fewer situations where failure becomes easy. You do not need to be strong every minute. You only need to begin arranging your life so the right choices no longer feel so difficult. Because when the environment changes, behavior begins to change too. And when behavior is repeated long enough, you will no longer need to force yourself so much to become the person you want to become. But understanding this alone is not enough. The next step is learning how to make the things that are good for you easier to begin, so you can maintain them more naturally in your daily life. After removing some unnecessary temptations, the next step is to make the things that are good for you easier to do. Because sometimes, what stops us from doing the right thing is not that it is too hard, but that it is too inconvenient to begin. Many times, we do not quit because the task itself is too difficult. We quit because the first step feels too heavy. You want to read, but the book is somewhere inside a drawer. You want to train, but your clothes are not ready, your shoes are not out, and you have to make too many decisions right after waking up. You want to work with focus, but your desk is full of random things. Your phone keeps lighting up. And before your mind has time to settle down, it is already being pulled away by too many signals around you. Small things like that can make a good action feel further away than it really is. And when the right thing feels far away, the easy thing wins. Not because it is better, but because it is closer, faster, and takes less energy. The Stoics understood that. A wise person does not rely only on temporary emotion. They prepare in advance so that when a weak moment appears, choosing the right thing becomes a little easier. If you want to read more, place the book somewhere you can easily see it. If you want to train, prepare your clothes the night before. If you want to use your phone less, keep it away from your bed. If you want to write, leave the page open or open a blank document so when you sit down, you do not have to begin from zero. If you want to study, clear your desk first, turn off unnecessary notifications, and leave only the things you truly need for studying. You do not need to create a perfect life. You only need to reduce the things that make the right choice harder. The easier a good action is to begin, the more likely it is to be repeated. And the harder a bad action is to reach, the fewer chances it has to pull you away. Sometimes, discipline is not trying to fight your phone while it is sitting right beside your hand. Discipline is placing it far away before you even need to fight it. Discipline is not waiting until morning to search for motivation to work out. Discipline is preparing everything the night before so that the next morning you have fewer reasons to quit. Discipline is not always a big battle. Many times it is just a series of small arrangements that give the better version of you more chances to show up. And when the right thing has become easier to begin, you still need one more thing. Do not start too big, because many habits die not because they are useless, but because from the very beginning, they were too heavy to maintain. Many people fail with discipline not because they are not serious, but because from the very beginning, they set goals that are too big for the rhythm of their current life. You want to read, but you set a goal to read for 1 hour every day. You want to train, but you begin with a workout schedule that is too intense. You want to write, but you force yourself to write a lot from the very first day. You want to change your life, but you demand that you become a completely different person after only a few days. And when you cannot keep up, you think you have failed. But the truth is, maybe the way you started was already too heavy to maintain. A new habit should not begin like a burden. It should begin like a small door you can step through every day. Read 1 page, write 3 lines, walk for 10 minutes, do 1 short workout, clear your desk for 5 minutes, turn off your phone a little earlier. Those things may sound too small, but because they are small, they create less resistance inside you. You do not need to convince yourself too much. You do not need to wait for inspiration. You do not need to prepare a perfect mindset. You only need to begin. The Stoics understood that. A steady life is not built through a few huge efforts. It is built through small action repeated with consistency. If you connect a new habit to something you already do every day, it becomes much easier to maintain. After brushing your teeth, write a few lines in your journal. After making coffee, read 1 page of a book. After shutting down your computer, prepare your things for tomorrow. After dinner, walk for a few minutes. You do not need to create a completely new life. You only need to attach 1 small action to the rhythm that already exists. Over time, that small action begins to feel familiar. Then it no longer needs so much willpower. It becomes part of who you are. And that is when discipline begins to feel easier. It no longer feels like forcing yourself every day. It begins to feel like you are living in a direction that has already been prepared. So do not underestimate small steps. 1 page is still better than reading nothing. 10 minutes of walking is still better than lying still and blaming yourself. 3 lines of journaling are still better than keeping every thought inside your head. Because every time you do 1 small thing in the right direction, you are sending yourself a message. I am someone who can keep my word to myself. And when that message is repeated enough times, it does not only create a habit, it begins to change the way you see yourself. And when you begin to see yourself differently, everything begins to change too. You no longer see discipline as something far away. You no longer believe that you need a huge amount of motivation before you can live better. You begin to understand that a disciplined person is not someone who is always strong. It is someone who knows how to create a way of living that makes it easier to return to what is right, easier to begin, easier to continue, and easier to get back up after falling away from the plan. Because there will still be days when you feel tired, still lazy, still wanting to procrastinate, still wanting to choose what feels easier. And that is completely normal. You do not need to hate yourself just because you have days like that. But you also should not allow those days to decide the whole person you are. If the old system makes it easy for you to quit, redesign it. If the old environment makes it easy for you to get distracted, rearrange it. If the old goal feels too heavy, make it smaller. If the new habit is too hard to maintain, attach it to something you already do every day. The Stoics understood that self-control is not about trying to defeat yourself through tension. It is about learning how to live better with what is within your control. Today, you may not be able to change your entire life, but you can place your phone a little farther away. Open a book and leave it ready. Prepare your workout clothes, clear your desk, write 3 lines in your journal, or do one small thing to prove to yourself that you can still begin again. Discipline does not need to begin with one big promise. It can begin with one small action that you actually do. And if this video resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This channel is not about becoming a more perfect person. It is about learning together how to live with more calm, more clarity, and a stronger ability to keep our word to ourselves each day. Before you leave, I want to ask you something. What is the first habit you want to redesign starting today? Is it reading, training, using your phone less, working with more focus, or sleeping and resting on a better schedule? Leave your thoughts below. I truly want to hear your perspective. See you in the next video.